20 years ago, Ansari overheard an argument that made her doubt who her biological father is. So she began a search. Her mother, Carolyn, had dated Charles 29 years ago, but he says the moment he found out she was pregnant, she disappeared. But he always knew he could be the father of her baby. And he recently found Carolyn on Facebook, and that's when he finally met Ansari. But before they continue the relationship, they both want to know if Charles really is Ansari's father. Take a look.
If it comes back that Charles is my father, I will be shocked, because 29 years and he told me that he really don't know if he my father or not. He has doubt. My mom always told me when I was growing up that her and my so-called father had a one-night stand, and it was never a relationship. She said he took advantage of her when they were drinking and smoking and being young. And she really don't remember what happened that night. She just end up being pregnant. This guy named Charles, he texted me on Facebook first, and he was like, "This is my long lost child." And I'm like, huh? We exchanged numbers and we talked a little bit, and he was telling me about the situation between him and my mom. He said that him and my mom were in a relationship for about a year or two. We had caught a bond when I was getting to know him a little bit. Then I stopped talking to him because I wanted a paternity test to make sure he was my father. I don't want to build a bond with a person and then find out that that's not my father. I'm hoping that he is my father, so this would be a closed chapter in my life, and my children to be able to have a bonus grandfather.
Charles, that might be your daughter on the tape. What did her mom tell you?
I had a child, and it was just out of the blue. Once she became pregnant, she kind of avoided me. I didn't talk to her for like weeks, months on end, and I seen her at the grocery store, and you know, she was several months pregnant, and there there you have it. You know,
when you were seeing Carolyn, how would you describe the relationship?
It wasn't necessarily a relationship. You know, we were young adults at the time, and it was more or less like a casual relationship. You know, I ain't gonna say it was a relationship.
How do you feel where she says you took advantage of her?
That part, nah, never taken advantage of anybody. You know, when it came to that, everything was consensual.
What led you to get back in touch with Carolyn, anyways?
Man, you know, I just happened to be, you know, trolling on Facebook, and you know, I seen, you know, people that I might be associated with, you know, I might be friends with, and I happened to see her picture, and I was like, damn, that's Carol. I think, okay, all right. Happy to befriend her, and she befriended me back, and I asked her what happened. You know what I'm saying? You just disappeared. I just had to ask her, you know, whatever happened to the child, you know, the baby, you know, and she brought her up, and she said, hey, you know, she is your daughter, and
she did. She said, "Hey, by the way, Charles, you're her father."
Yeah, I mean that's how she put it. You know,
what was your reaction at? You know, if somebody, say, if I was in your shoes, and I reconnect with somebody I had a relationship from 30 years ago, and if they told me I had a child, I think I'd be really upset that, you know, I missed out on the whole child's life.
It was pretty emotional.
Let's bring Carolyn up. Carolyn, you become pregnant with his child. I'm assuming that's the story here. But for 30 years, 29 years, etc., you never told him he had a daughter.
Well, Steve, that's not totally true. Charles not being 100% telling the truth. Me and Charles did meet up a few times. It wasn't counting on your hand. You didn't need but one hand to count how many times we were actually together. I would say maybe 3 or 4 times. The only thing Charles was right about is I was in a relationship, but during the time that I met Charles, the guy who I was with, I wasn't messing around with nobody but Charles during that time. We were not in a relationship. None whatsoever. It was never a relationship. He write about the part of us hanging out at the same places, going, after midnight hours. That's true. But that was all it was.
Can I ask you, when your daughter,
Yes, Dave.
when your daughter is a young girl, did she say, "Who's my father? Where's Daddy"?
Well, actually, the guy who I'm still with, who Charles is talking about, I'm still with that guy. So he raised her all
Okay,
her
so
life.
she basically had a man in her life who she looked at as a father. But did she know
Yes.
that this man wasn't her father?
She found out when she was like, I want to say 12. She was about 12 years old. We had gotten into
How did she?
a little...
How did she find out?
Me and the guy had got into it, and I sort of blurted out, you're not her dad, and that's how she found out. And she never let it rest from that day forward.
So she overheard it.
She overheard it.
Your daughter does. She's met Charles, right?
She met him.
And what did she think?
Nothing. She thought nothing.
Oh,
of
okay. Let's bring her in. I want to talk to her. Hi, Ansari. You were being raised, and you felt like there was a man that was in your life, and you overhear your mother arguing with him, and you find out that he's not your biological father. You were around 12 years old. When you hear that argument, did you want to meet the man that was your father?
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually, when I turned 15, we went to Chicago looking for him.
And you didn't find him?
No, we couldn't find him.
What happens if Charles comes back and he is your biological father?
I'm going to spend more time with him. I'm going to be traveling to Chicago then because I already do a lot of travel.
Do you want Charles to be your father?
If he is my daddy, I'll be happy.
Okay.
'Cause this time I always wanted.
I totally understand that. You took a DNA test, and Charles, the results are, you are not Ansari's father.
What?
Wow.
Wow.
So that tells me about who. Yeah, look at her real hard.
You shut up. You didn't do nothing, so you ain't got nothing to worry about. I didn't ask you for nothing or nobody else.
I don't.
So it really don't matter.
Ansari, let me ask you a question. Do you feel you're missing out on something not knowing who your biological father is? Are you okay? Like, you're a mother. I'm sure you have your own personal relationships. You have 3 children. Is this something that is like a hole in you, or is it something like, it'd be nice to know, but, I'm fine?
No, it's like a hole because all my life growing up, she always told me that Charles was my father. And to hear that he ain't, that's sad.
Yeah. So you would like to find out who your father is?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, listen, Carolyn, I know after this show today, maybe you'll have some time to think about who the father... No, listen, I don't want to make a joke of this because this is serious for her. Your daughter would like to know who the father is, her father, and we would like to help. We would like to help her find out and meet her biological father. So if there's somebody that you want to narrow it down to and come back on the show, we'll take a test so that your daughter could finally have peace of mind knowing who her biological father is. Is that something that you would want?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe you work with your mom, find out who the other possibility is, and Carolyn, we'd love to have you and your daughter back on and help find out, help you find for sure Ansari's biological father, okay?
Okay.